The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to the Wyoming Women's Business Center's 2021 webinar series. Today's presentation is Top 10 LinkedIn Posts. We will be going over 10 different types of content that you can use when planning out your marketing calendar, and we're also introducing a new bite-sized training video. I'm Veronica Donahue from our COVID-19 support program, and I will be your speaker today. Now, before we start, let's go over some quick information about the Wyoming Women's Business Center. The Wyoming Women's Business Center is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to enable and empower Wyoming entrepreneurs with a special emphasis on women who are economically or socially disadvantaged. And we do this through 4 distinct programs. The first is our business counseling and training program, which is always free. The second is our microfinance programs, which offer microloans and individual development accounts. Third is the Artist Development Center we run in conjunction with our Works of Wyoming store in downtown Laramie. And lastly, we launched our COVID-19 support program early last summer. And this webinar is brought to you by the COVID-19 support program. And I want to call special attention today to our QuickBooks subscriptions project and remind you all that COVID-19 resources are available until April 30th, 2021. If you want to learn more about our QuickBooks program or any of the other COVID-19 resources available to Wyoming business owners when they become clients, you can reach out to me directly at veronica.wwbc@gmail.com. Now, before we started, I want to point out the GoToWebinar control panel on the right side of your screen. And I want to call special attention to the questions panel and the chat box. If you have any comments or questions during the webinar today, I'd like you to use those to communicate with us. This webinar is being recorded, and a link to the recording will be sent out to all registrants shortly after the live event today. You can visit our website at wyomingwomen.org and navigate to the trainings tab to view all upcoming webinars and past webinar recordings. Now, if you're watching this webinar live, a survey will launch shortly after we close the presentation. Please complete this survey. It provides us some great information, and we always share that with our funding partners. And as a reminder, all participants are muted to minimize background noise. So once again, if you have any questions or comments during the presentation, please type them into the chat box. So I thought we would start out with some quick information about LinkedIn, because I know it's less widely used than Facebook, and it's a little bit different. A simple way to explain LinkedIn is that it's a professional Facebook or a professional networking website. Now, LinkedIn is a social media platform, but it is mostly used by B2B businesses to build their brand awareness and develop relationships with their customers. It's also used for employees and job seekers to learn about businesses they might want to work for or talk about the business that they're currently working for. In fact, one study shows that 96% of B2B content marketers use LinkedIn. So it's the biggest platform used by B2B marketers. So if your primary customers are other businesses, then LinkedIn would be a great place to learn about your customers and really learn about the influencer in the business. And I'll get into this in a second. Similarly to Facebook, you have your personal page and you can create a business page. Now, my advice for you, if you're thinking about using LinkedIn, if you're a freelancer or your business is tied greatly to your personal professional experience, I would say that you don't need a business page. Mainly, business pages are used by employees to show where they work, and it's mostly used for companies that have more than 1 or 2 employees. So if you are more of the micro business or a solopreneur, I don't think you need a whole separate business page. I think most of your business actually comes from your professional network, which is more closely tied to your professional/personal LinkedIn page. Now, if you're having trouble finding your customers online, maybe you're not sure if you are a B2B company or if your customers are other businesses, I definitely suggest that you reach out to us to meet with our marketing counselor, Jessica Brower. You can sign up for a COVID-19 support program and meet with her one on one for free to talk about the specifics for your business. And I also suggest that you go back and watch one of our more recent videos, which was Building Customer Relationships Online. That is a great introduction into understanding your customer. Now, here's a couple more fast facts that I think are super interesting and great information for using LinkedIn to both market yourself and to market your business. So, companies with a complete and active LinkedIn page see 5 times more page engagement or more page views. So, this basically means that you want all of the information on your LinkedIn page or your company page to be accurate. And you also want your page to be somewhat active. So, you want to post somewhat. I know a lot of Wyoming businesses don't actually use Facebook, and I mean, they don't actually use LinkedIn to post new insights into their business. They just have it as, a secondary web page. But it's actually found that you should be active on LinkedIn and you will get more views. Another study shows that 4 out of 5 people on LinkedIn are actually driving business decisions. So, this is super valuable information. And I'll go back to my point earlier about influencers in B2B marketing. So, maybe you know that your product or service is best for another business to use. Maybe it's something that helps them with their business um, returns, maybe it helps them with their business processes. So you know that other businesses are really the ones paying for this service or product. But what you need to know is that there is someone in that business who is what's called an influencer, and they are the one who is driving business decisions. So, LinkedIn is a great place to find these people because you can see their job title and their job history. And another interesting fact is that 33% of B2B decision makers use LinkedIn to research their purchases. So, this means if your target market is another business, what you want to do is have information ready to go so that if they find your company on LinkedIn, they can consume some of your content and understand who you are and what you do, and really drive their decision to purchase your product or service. Some engagement statistics. So this can be used for anyone, even if you're just an employee using Facebook and you just want to grow your network a little more. So posts with images are found to have 2 times higher engagement. So this goes along with Facebook. Everyone's drawn to images, and having an image can really help your post stand out when it's on the timeline. And then posts with videos are actually 20 times more likely to be reshared. So I think a video that's interesting and that gives people some good information can be really valuable to grow your network. And then, of course, that active engagement on LinkedIn is super important. And it's actually found that if you post weekly on LinkedIn, you will actually see a 2 times higher engagement rate. So I think that's super important to know. If you're a B2B company, LinkedIn is one of the best places that you can spend your marketing time on. All right, let's get into our top 10. So, number 10 is what we do content. And this is really the most obvious and easy type of content for LinkedIn. Just like in the Facebook presentation when I talked about behind the scenes content, this type of content can really just show what you do and how you do it. So you could just make a post as basic as these two, which are basically lists of the service they offer, how they can help, and who they can help. But one thing that's great for what we do content is videos. So this is my next slide. So I have 2 videos here. Let me make sure that one plays. Videos are a great way to show that social proof that we're trying to show how we're valuable and what we do. So in the left example, you can see that this is a canine leak detection team, basically, and they're showing the social proof that their dogs can actually do this. And of course, in the right example, I would call this more of something that you would post on your website. So if you already have a video on your website, I would go ahead and post that on LinkedIn as well. Like I said, I always think of LinkedIn as a secondary web page. So it's a great way for people to find you, and they're going to consume that content on your LinkedIn page. So if you have a great video that you spent money on, put that on LinkedIn. It's a great way to show what you do. Okay, number 9, I have share your blog post. So, if you already have a blog on your website and you're already spending time crafting this content for your audience, the best thing you can do is try and get that link on as many of your social media platforms as possible. So, in this left example, you can see Warehouse 21 actually created a blog post about what we do and about their production facility in particular. So that's an example of what we do. But as you look down at the bottom here, the link actually goes right back to their website because they do blogs on their website. The same for this example on the right. The link that they're sharing on LinkedIn goes right back to their website. So, this is a great way to add some more opportunities for conversion. So, maybe once a week you post a blog post, and then you also go on LinkedIn and post that blog post on LinkedIn with a quick description above it. And I do want to point out something interesting about LinkedIn that makes it a little different than Facebook is the tagging. So in this example on the right, they have several tags, and how they use tags on LinkedIn is that you can follow a tag that's interesting to you or that's in your industry, or maybe it's something that you're looking for. So maybe this remote marketing tag, there are several people who use that tag and they follow that tag because maybe they are a remote marketer. So this would be an awesome thing to incorporate in your LinkedIn posts because it just allows you to be a little bit more visible if you're using tags that people are already following. So I always recommend using tags as well. Um, I know this is going to sound crazy, but I've actually seen on LinkedIn that a lot of people don't use pictures or videos. There are a lot of these longer text posts on LinkedIn. And if you don't have a blog on your website, I think that LinkedIn would be a great place to put that content. Maybe you don't want to write a full page for your website and you just have a quick tip or a quick introduction or a quick story. You can use LinkedIn to become a blog. I think this is especially useful if you are a freelancer and you can work with almost anyone in the world. You could use this as a blog and people can find you more. As you see on the right and the left, they use some more of those tags. So they're obviously trying to get found. They want their content to be consumed. And as you see on this left example, this is actually a company that shared this lady's post. So it's a great place to reshare content that you found inspiring that maybe as a freelancer you would want to share on your professional LinkedIn page. Or you're a company that works with freelancers and you decide this is something I believe in and I want people to know about my company culture is that everyone is working for themselves in my company. They're all freelancers. So that's just another way to use LinkedIn. And I think this is honestly one of the main ways that people use LinkedIn is just to do a short form blog post. So keep that in mind. You will see posts like this. Okay, number 8, inspirational and motivational content. So, this is probably the biggest trend that I've seen on LinkedIn, and you are bound to see a hashtag motivational Monday or a hashtag Monday wisdom when you log into when you log into LinkedIn. So, it's a big trend, and I think the reason why is that it plays into the idea that people want to be passionate, inspired, and motivated when they go on LinkedIn. It's a place to work on your professional persona, and it's a great way to talk about your company culture and to talk about yourself as a person. So, in this example on the right, this is a person of a personal professional LinkedIn page posted about this. And it's just a great thing that, reminds people who you are, that you aren't thinking that you're so high up above yourself that maybe you have failed before and you've learned from it. So you can really tell some stories with inspirational and motivational content. And it's a great way to bring everything back into perspective and kind of inspire people and maybe talk about what you've learned in the past. Okay, number 7, I have networking events and webinars. So, one interesting thing about LinkedIn, which makes it very similar to Facebook, is that you can do an event type of post. So this is just like on Facebook where you can create an event for your Facebook page. You can create an event for your, they call them company pages on LinkedIn. And that's actually what this company did on the left. They're hosting an entrepreneurship or an entrepreneur freelancer small business happy hour. And obviously, they're looking for people who are probably on LinkedIn looking for professional help or professional events. So I think that's great if your target market is in your town, but they're also professionals. Maybe your target customer is the CEO of a company who needs their closet organized, and you want to do a special event where you talk about all the different um, types of products you use when you organize people's closets. Obviously, you might find those customers more on LinkedIn than you would on Facebook. This event on the right is a webinar style event. So it's a virtual event, and they posted marketing or advertising on LinkedIn because maybe their target market is on LinkedIn. Maybe it's a young professional mom who wants to learn about the positive discipline strategies, and maybe they'll see it on LinkedIn. So it's a great place to post those webinars and events. Number 6, I have project highlights. Now, this goes into the what we do posts. It's very close to a what we do post, but it's actually kind of closer to a co marketing content post or a behind the scenes post. So, if you're a service based business and maybe you do projects primarily, so maybe you do a graphic design project like this one in the middle, this is a great opportunity to talk about your customers and talk about how you helped them. So this example on the far right, they actually tagged their customer in this post because they are congratulating them for having their project complete. And this is a great way for potential customers to come on your page and see who you've worked with. And that is really the best social proof you can get is a whole list of people that weren't mad that you posted about their project online because they're happy with it. And of course, maybe if some big company wanted to work with you, maybe they'd even call up one of your customers and say, "Did you like it?" And that's something that I think is valuable. It's really valuable, especially if you are in more of a relationship building type of project where you have to work closely together. It's a great way for them to see your references and, of course, see some information about what you thought about the project and what you thought about the customer. And of course, this example on the far left is actually a personal page. So this is someone who just has some professional networking and they just wanted to talk about a big project that they were doing. So I think this is something you can do for both professional and personal pages. Okay, number 5, I have informational content. I feel like I always talk about informational content because it is such a cool way to passively talk about your business. So this example on the right, this is an insurance company and they did a post called "It's Time to Get Ready with Boating Season Checklist. Here's a couple things you should think about." So that's a great way for them to show we care about you. We want you to be reminded to check your boat before you take it out on the water. And of course, that's going to help them because they're an insurance company and they don't want to see any accidents. This example on the right is a great piece of informational content. It's some tax time tips from the National Cybersecurity Alliance. So, this is a good example of finding some tips and creating a blog post for it, and then linking that blog post in your LinkedIn post. And you can even link a article that you didn't create. You could just link an article that you want your customers to know about, and it's a great way to fill in that weekly post if that's your plan is to do a weekly post. That's a great way to speed up the process because you don't have to create too much content. You really have to just find something that's informative and shows that you're an expert and that you're on top of things and share it on LinkedIn. Now, I do have a couple more posts for this. So, this left post is a technology company, and most of their customers are very technical people and they have their own research that they consume. And this post really shows that they are doing their research and they know what's going on in their field. So this is kind of an industry related post. I think this is a great way to show that you are part of the industry. You're talking about issues in the industry, you're talking about new studies. It's just a great way to share some information and kind of comment on it. And of course, this example of the right is a little less technical. It's just talking about asphalt shingle roofing. It's talking about, the big highlights that they probably tell everyone when they talk to them on the phone. So it's, just some quick information that they can give someone. And it, keeps you on everyone's radar because you're still active on LinkedIn. Okay, number 4, this was the number 1 for Facebook in my last presentation. So number 4 for LinkedIn is testimonial content. This goes right back to the project highlights and kind of talking about your customers. So this is actually asking for a quote or asking for some information about their experience and putting it on LinkedIn as a testimonial. And this is a great idea, especially if it's a person at the company, so that you can post their name and maybe someone from a completely different company might have that connection, especially if you tag them in the post. They might have that connection and they know who to reach out to see, to get any information to see if maybe they would need your services or products. And of course, this example on the left is kind of a storytelling post if you look at it. So they had a gross problem in their crawl space of the restaurant. They were overwhelmed, they didn't know where to begin, and they called ServPro, and that's the best move they could make. So they're telling a story, they're eliciting the emotion of feeling like you don't know where to begin. And they're really telling that it's it was a great experience. It was the best decision they could have made. So I think that's a great, testimonials can really tell a story, and I would definitely encourage you to ask for testimonials, especially for the B2B businesses, because you might not work with them again. Always ask them if you can get a quick quote for your social media. Okay, number 3, I think this one's kind of obvious, but there's a lot you can do with it. So, business updates and announcements. Like I said at the beginning, a lot of people use LinkedIn to find a job. Maybe they're a job seeker, maybe they have a job, but they're looking for a new job. So in this left example, Sierra Trading Post just created a whole LinkedIn post to say that they have some jobs available. Check us out and apply if you think you've got what it takes to join our team. So that's a great post that you can keep doing if you do hire people quite frequently. I think it's especially great if you hire professionals who maybe have some skills that aren't just minimum wage workers. LinkedIn is a great place to find those candidates. And this middle example, this is a COVID-19 update. So, like with Facebook, I talked about COVID-19 updates. This is a COVID-19 update that says we have an action plan. We're going to serve our providers in our community during COVID-19, and we want to collaborate with other emergency departments. So, this is a great update. What they're looking for, this is a great networking post in general because it says who they're looking for. And of course, they share a what this is what's called the blog post, but it looks like it's just a letter from their medical doctor. But they linked back to their website. So if someone says, "Oh, well, I work in an emergency department a county over," maybe they see this and they'll go to the website and read more about it. So you don't have to post all your information on LinkedIn. It's always great to add a link back to your website. And of course, on the right, this is a great example of a business announcement when Casper Event Center renamed themselves to the Ford Wyoming Center. That's, the perfect idea for an announcement. So you could do any type of announcements. This could be a big announcement, or it could be you're in the newspaper and you want to link to that newspaper article. It could mean you're hiring. It could mean that you're moving. Pretty much any type of announcement should go on LinkedIn, and it's a great way for people to kind of trace back and see how you've grown as a business. That's another thing that some of your customers might be looking for. They just want to know, how long have you been in business? Have you grown a lot recently? Have you been hiring people? I always think that they probably want to know that you're a stable company that's growing and you're not, losing business. So announcements are a great way to show that. All right, number two, I have business mission posts. So this is similar to the what we do posts or the behind the scenes posts, but it's really more about your mission. So you might tell a story, you might comment on a particular issue that's core to your mission. You might talk about the problems your customers face and how it's part of your mission to help them solve those, and this is how we solve them. So in this left example, I'm sure that you're aware that the university's mission, part of their mission is to be a research university. So this is a great example of how they're talking about their mission. They aren't just posting what their mission is, but they're finding an issue and they're connecting it with the research they do, and they're showing that we're always looking for new ways to approach age-old challenges, which is a comment on their mission. So I think that's a great post example. And of course, this example on the right is a video. Of course, this video might be on their website. So this is actually kind of a storytelling post, and it's talking about their mission. Who do we help? Why do we do this? What have we done? So this is a great example of a mission post. And of course, I always think it's important to talk about the problem that you can solve and show part of your mission. Always have that underlying understanding on all of your social media posts about your mission, just to make sure that you're telling the same story or you're showing the same mission with all of your posts. Okay, number one, top LinkedIn posts. I have infographics. So an infographic is exactly what it sounds like. So it's information that's presented in a graphic way. So usually these will have numbers of some sort on them, and it's some sort of data that maybe you have collected as a business, or maybe data that you found on a reputable study and you want to share. So on this left example, they are sharing some data from a study that shows that 43 million cars worth of carbon dioxide emissions avoided by 60,000 wind turbines. So this is another example of someone commenting on an issue that maybe they see in their industry. And it's always good to have that visual or graphic image to really draw people's eyes to it. And of course, this one is very branded. So they have their truck logo, they have their logo at the bottom, they have the same color scheme with all of their posts. So I think having that branded image is a really great way to make people more aware of your brand, or um, make them identify your brand when they see these colors and images. Same goes for First Interstate. They have that yellow or orange and gray logo, and you'll see their logo on every single thing that they do. And this is a way for them to talk about what they care about, that they've provided more than $1 million in support to help communities. Like, that's a great post to do. It, of course, talks about their mission, because usually banks want to talk about the community they're in. And of course, the infographic is a great way to show how their mission has done so far. So from April to December 2020, the First Interstate Foundation gifted 145 grants specific to COVID-19 relief. So it's a great way to make all of that information visually appealing so that you're actually interested in looking at it. And of course, Loom Studio on the right, this is a marketing company. So they have, I think marketing companies are obviously the best examples because they know how to market, so they market their own business well. So this is an infographic that's very simple, but it shows that they know what they're talking about, and it's another way to show exactly what you do. So they're trying to give people some quick tips, but they're also passively showing that this is what we do. We're marketers. So I think that's a great example. So I have my colleague, Rebecca Austin, on the line, and she's going to hop in here and talk about our bite-sized training video. Hey, Rebecca.
Hey, thanks, Veronica. Hi, everyone. My name is Rebecca Austin, and I'm going to talk to you guys really quick about a great way to connect with your customers on social media through the use of graphics. And one graphic that's great for explaining as well as connecting with your customers online is an infographic, like Veronica has stated before. And going off of what Veronica said, an infographic is just a collection of either images, graphics, or other visual elements, or even some combination of the three to help explain something. Usually they're used as a way to easily explain a topic through the use of these visual elements. And these visuals are relevant to the topic and help communicate the information quickly and clearly. There are a lot of opportunities to use infographics for your business. Maybe there's a topic that's relevant, or maybe you're trying to assure your customers that your product or service is beneficial to them. Whatever the reason is, an infographic is a great way to explain that topic or question that your audience may not know much about. For those of you thinking that you have no idea how to make your own graphic and you don't want to pay someone else to make it for you, that's where we come in. I want to introduce you guys to canva.com. That's canva.com. It's a free online graphic design resource that's perfect for small businesses. You can use their already made templates to create your own content for social media using their drag and drop interface. And the best part, we've already made several bite-sized training videos to teach you how to use this free platform. On your GoToWebinar panel toward the bottom, you'll notice a tab that says Handouts. And there you'll find a free downloadable PDF that links to our 4-part Canva crash course series that teaches you the basics of Canva and even walks you through how to make a logo, and our advanced Canva series where we go more in depth with the online platform to teach you how to make specific designs like newsletters, or in today's case, infographics. You can download that now and start watching whenever you have time. We understand busy schedules and we designed our training to be shorter and simpler. In fact, you can watch our entire 4-part series and our 3 advanced Canva videos in less than an hour. And with that said, I'll go ahead and turn it back to Veronica to wrap this up. Happy designing, everyone.
Right. I think Canva is a great tool for entrepreneurs just because you don't need to know it all to make a great graphic on Canva. It's very intuitive, and I definitely recommend that you all do that if you thought that some of these were really exciting, cool posts. Canva is a great way to make these posts with as little time as possible. Okay, so I want to go through a summary. I know I'm going over time, so if you have to pop out, that's fine. We'll have the recording available for you shortly after the presentation today, but let's go through a quick summary. So number 1, infographics. Infographics are a way to make information a graphic image. So they're very visually appealing, and it's a great way to talk about issues, talk about how your business has done and who you help, how successful you've been in that. Number 2, business mission posts. So business mission posts are a great way to talk about your mission, connect that to the problem that your customer is facing, and really share a little bit more about how your mission actually turns out in real life. Number 3 is business updates announcements. This is very straightforward, but LinkedIn is a great place to post these announcements because it creates a good timeline of what you've been doing over the years. Number 4, testimonial content. I think you've heard me say testimonials are great because you get to learn about what your customers are feeling after a project or after you work with them. So a testimonial is a great way to show that social proof that you have been working with XYZ customers, and maybe someone else will identify, oh, I'm very similar to that type of business. Maybe I should look into this product or service more. Number 5 is informational content. So this is content that is kind of a passive way to talk about your products and services and maybe share a little bit of your expertise and tips for that audience to really show them that you're really good at what you do. Number 6, project highlights, very similar to testimonial content and the what we do content. So this is just to have a post when you finish a project to talk about it. Maybe tell a story about how you helped the customer, or maybe just talk about how it was a really cool project and you want to do more like that. Number 7 is networking events and webinars. So if you've thought about doing a webinar, LinkedIn is a great place to promote that if your target market is professionals or other businesses. And of course, networking events are a great idea if you are maybe a freelancer and you need to meet more people. Maybe you want to meet more people in a specific industry in your community. So networking event or a webinar is a great idea for that. Number 8, inspirational and motivational content. And I said this is a big trend on LinkedIn. A lot of the posts are inspirational stories or a motivational video or a motivational graphic. I just see it a lot, especially on those personal pages. Number 9, share your blog posts. So you don't have to spend all the time creating all this content for every different social media or marketing platform or channel you're using. So if you already create blog posts, go ahead and put a link on LinkedIn every time you post one. It's a great way to drive people to your website. And you can also use kind of a blog marketing tactic on LinkedIn. If you don't have a website or you don't have a blog, you can use LinkedIn to blog and just share information regularly. And of course, number 10, what we do content. So these are the most basic, obvious type of post that you could put on LinkedIn. So it's just an example of what services you offer, who you help, and maybe how you perform your services. So I think those are all really great. Now I'm going to look at our questions box. Let's see. So I see someone missed number 7. I hope that when I went through that summary, you got it again. And then the next person said, not a question, but as a one-person operation / business, it's hard to relate to most examples you showed as they were very slick, top design posts, probably created by a marketing team with a graphic designer. So I agree with you. I think they are really slick. But I also think you should check out Canva if maybe you do want to make your posts a little more visually appealing. It is a free program online, and we do have a great wealth of resources for you if you think it's hard and you need some basic steps to get started and some tutorials on specific post types. So I will send you the handout in the email. So I definitely recommend you check out Canva. Okay, I don't see any more questions, so I'll go through our ending slides. The Wyoming Women's Business Center is made possible through several partnership agencies, and our primary funding comes from the U.S. Small Business Administration and the Wyoming Business Council. We are so thankful for the support and guidance of our partners, and we do really look forward to the work ahead with our clients and, of course, working with all of our partners. If you're interested in one-on-one business counseling, if you need to work on your business plan or you just have questions, you can always reach out to our business counselor, Jonathan Howdyshell. His phone and email are on the left side of the screen. And if you're interested in that list of services offered through our COVID-19 support program like QuickBooks or outreach marketing counseling, you can reach out to me. My phone and email are on the right side of the screen. And of course, if you're interested in any of the Wyoming Women's Business Center's programs, you can visit our website at wyomingwomen.org. We do have another top 10 post coming up next Tuesday. It is the top 10 Instagram posts. So if you're not registered for that already, you should go to our website and click on that training tab to see all of our upcoming events and our past webinar recordings. So go to wyomingwomen.org and click on training to register for free. That is the end of my presentation. I just want to thank everyone for joining me today for our top 10 LinkedIn posts. And I want to remind you to please complete the survey at the close of this webinar. All right, bye-bye, everyone.